A major highlight of the Obiano administration is that he went into partnerships with major agro investors like Coscharis, Josan Agro Limited, Linden Farms, Chelsea Farms, Excel Farms, Eagle Farms, and other investors. The impact of these partnerships was instantaneous.
As a matter of fact, he said he wants to be the highest producer of rice and then also be an export-oriented economy. What we met on ground in 2014, rice was at its lowest level of 80,000 metric tons per annum. But with His Excellency's policies, first of all, getting the right variety of seed, we were able to, in 2019, rise from 80,000 metric tons to 345,000 metric tons. And even with the COVID and the flood issues, we are projecting in 2021 to hit 525,000 metric tons of rice. So Coscharis currently has a modular mill of 120,000 metric tons per annum. But currently, because it's a modular, they are doing the first phase of 40,000 metric tons. That is current production. Then the Umumbo Josan Agro Mill has a capacity of 120,000 metric tons. Unfortunately, that mill is underfed with paddy. So we are doing everything possible to increase the hectarage under their cultivation so that they can feed that large mill.
The efforts to encourage more people to go into farming have also yielded tremendous results, as there are currently 115,000 farmers and 2,700 cooperative societies.
First and foremost, we needed to know who are the farmers, where are the farmers, what are they growing. We set up a robust automated database that captured the farmers with GPS, their coordinates on ground, what they are producing and where they are located. So at the click of a button, you could know who is where. And His Excellency came up with a very, very laudable input distribution policy. Fertilizers, he gave a 30% subsidy. Then other inputs like cassava stems, rice seeds, maize seed, okra seed, he gave free of charge. Rice millers at low level are given destoners and threshers by His Excellency. As a matter of fact, this year we distributed 50 threshers to cooperatives at all levels and gave them destoners. So the effect of this was reduced cost of production, increased productivity, and increased profitability to the farmers.
Linden Farm is currently the largest poultry farm in southern Nigeria, having added a new facility with a capacity for holding 90,000 birds to its offerings.
Linden Farm currently is producing 5,000 crates of egg a day, and they have potential to increase to 8,000 because they are putting in some other birds into system, and they have 3 of those houses, and their target is to get to 16 houses because they want to start a slaughterhouse system.
Meanwhile, Eagle Farms at Umuchu and Wonder Farms at Umunze are blazing a trail in the commercial rearing of Efibo. All these have created employment in thousands.
We have pockets of people now rearing Efibo. A major one is the Umuchu farm of Eagle Farm that is doing Efibo. There are others in Abatete, there are others in Umweri. So with what is happening in the country now, we are advocating that we rear our own Efibo. So there's a lot of advocacy and a lot of awareness on Efibo. And in that case, we have started our partnership with the Wariam University. They have donated 250 hectares of land for a livestock center. It's going to have a quarantine station, it's going to have a grazing area, it's going to have a slaughterhouse, it's going to have everything that you require to make meat high and top quality. So it's going to be in a Wariam there under this LPRESS program. And under LPRESS also, we are going to advocate beekeeping, which we have already started because last year we trained 50 beekeepers and they equipped them fully with 250 hives and the bee kits and everything.
Interestingly, Awka-based Grafield Nigeria Limited has been exporting vegetables from Anambra to the US for quite some time now.
We are exporting vegetables, and that big time too. The government has been able to inspire large-scale production of Ogo in particular. And we are helping to keep that inspiration meaningful for the farmers. During this dry season, usually the people who live around the riverine areas produce Ogo, but they do that in measure because they know that if they overproduce, there will be a glut and they will lose. But with the export drive, they know they can't produce enough. You only need to go to Onisha, the vegetable market, to ask the women there. They know that once there is glut, even when we're not really in need, they call us. We'll have people there positioned. They'll mop up whatever it is, and we send one of those reefer trucks or two to evacuate, bring to the warehouse, we process, package, and put in our cold room for export. So we are exporting vegetables, and even lately the market has opened a bit wider. We've been exporting to the US, but of late we have demand from South Africa, we have demand from Australia, and we're working on exporting to those two countries at the moment. And we have somebody else who has indicated interest from Canada. That will be happening also this year when we enter into the boom season. This is still the lean season for ugu vegetables. But even now, we're processing and packaging ugu, oha, and some other leaves for export. Yes, this government has helped to drive that export initiative and make it also happen by strategically aiding the cold chain management with the reefer trucks which the government procured and has made available to us as the main exporters of vegetables from Anambra State.
Research shows that the demand for fish in Nigeria stands at 2.1 million metric tons per year, while current production is estimated at a paltry 800,000 metric tons. This leaves a shortfall of 1.3 million metric tons. But Governor Obiano has risen to meet this shortfall with a strategic approach that would guarantee Anambra State a firm foothold in the huge fish business. When he took over the reins of leadership in 2014, fish production in Anambra State stood at 12,000 metric tons per annum. He subsequently set up an annual fish production target of 55,000 metric tons and began to walk his talk immediately by setting up the Fisheries and Aquaculture Business Development Agency, FABDA, which was passed into law on the 18th of December 2018 as a key milestone to institutionalize the development of the fisheries and aquaculture economy.
And the mandate of FABDA in summary is reposition the fisheries and aquaculture sector in Anambra State for effective and efficient governance, regulation, productivity, and growth.
The Anambra have taken up fish production in their various communities and in different methods, ranging from mobile fish ponds using plastic tanks, tarpaulin tanks, fiber tanks, concrete fish ponds to earthen ponds as the case may be, and according to their terrains, relying on their acumen to expand and optimize the business inherent in the value chain as much as they could.
Because we are matching our fish production activities with business principles, we have to get back and guide the lines of production so that they will match the customers, categories. This is where we'll gather all this data and do informed analysis, and we'll be able to know the population of the economy or the population of the people that take half kg size of fish, the population of people that prefer 2 kg size of fish, the ones that prepare 5 kg size of fish. All this data guides us in informing or relating in the value chain and disseminating information and sharing information and knowledge with respect to investors to guide them on where looks more advantageous or more beneficial or where the needs are.
To actualize its major objective of growing the fisheries and aquaculture economy into a formidable and key revenue generating industry in Anambra State, FABDA, with the active directive of His Excellency, the Executive Governor, commenced its business hubs and franchise model fish villages in the 3 senatorial zones of the state as a pilot to guide further investment interest.
We're doing 300 ponds in each of them, and for these 300 ponds, it's going to do 75 tons per month. So when you do 75 and you multiply it by 3, you see you have 225,000 kg. These fish production villages create facility for massive production, industrial scale production of table fish, creates offtake line for the fingerlings production.
The Anambra Fisheries and Aquaculture Development Agency has since swung into action. nurturing fish farmers across the state and teaching them modern techniques in fish farming. The expectation was that FABDA would catalyze fish production to ensure that the 3 senatorial zones would contribute meaningfully to the overall annual fish production output from Anambra State. FABDA has also recorded great investments in the fisheries and aquaculture industry to boost fish and fish feed production. Aided by Governor Obiano's Akuluo call, his administration's persistent effort at ensuring a peaceful and business-friendly environment, and the increased ranking of Anambra State among states with good indices in the ease of doing business, FABDA's articulate policies have successfully attracted investments in the fish and fish feed production value chain. Private organizations like Grand Series Limited, a subsidiary of USC PLC, has installed a 30% metric tons per annum fish feeds plant at Onitsha, an investment worth 1.2 billion naira only as at 2019.
There's always been a partnership between the Anambra State government and the Grand Series. That was quite instrumental. Anambra State has been quite a hospitable host, and they made it quite convenient for us to set up a business here in Anambra. We produce fish feed for the different sizes or stages of fishes, starting from the 2 mm. We have going up to the 9 mm, which is the phase for the adult fish. So we cater for the different phases of growth in the fish business.
Indeed, the bold investment of Anambra State government under Obiano in commercial fish farming has boosted the interest of fish farmers and induced more aggression in the business. More farmers are joining the fish production value chain on a daily basis. The volume of fish production has gone up from 12,000 metric tons to 22,000 metric tons per annum. Within the period under review, private investments in fish farming have added another 6,000 metric tons to the total output from the state. A direct result of these efforts has been a drastic fall in unemployment, the emergence of the Anambra rice brand, and increased food self-sufficiency. In fact, the National Bureau of Statistics reports that in 2020, Anambra had the lowest unemployment rate in Nigeria at 17%. All thanks to Governor Obiano's exploits in agriculture and other areas.